Welcome into the latest episode of Betting the Pitch, the European soccer edition. I'm your host, Real_G Warner, on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and on YouTube. Late night with Real_G Warner. As always, we just finished Sweet 16 in its entirety. Just did a podcast for the Betting the Pitch. I'm doing Betting the Pitch now. Did a podcast for the pregame.com podcast network, The Need for Seeds, with my co-host at Big East Ben. Go check out at Pregame Now on Twitter to go check that out if you're looking on Twitter or wherever you get your Apple Podcasts, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you want to look. Go check out RJ Bell Dream Preview feed. This is a soccer only podcast. We have a relatively small Premier League, more so FA Cup action in the quarterfinals. As English Premier League has an English Volca, as they call it in Germany, but a midweek set of matches to get you really started. We had a bit of a delay or break after the international break, specifically where there's a bunch of World Cup action qualifying going on in South America. We saw Brazil take a big loss, pretty embarrassing, at least for them, against Argentina on the road. But we'll be going through the top five European soccer leagues. The FA Cup is really what's going to be most valuable in England. But then also we'll be going through the La Liga in Spain, Serie A in Italy, the German Bundesliga, and the French Ligue, all on this episode, all tonight, all in the next few minutes. So buckle in, strap in. We'll also be putting out a best bet on my Instagram at @the_Real_G Warner, plus on YouTube. And we're 36 and 13, 73% year to date. I'm a little behind in catching up on soccer so far, but we will be there sooner rather than later. So let's start where the money is, and that is in the English Premier League, or in this case, for this matchup, we'll instead focus upon the FA Cup in England. So we'll start with Fulham, a quarter goal favorite to Crystal Palace, totals 2.25, and the juice is more to the under. Also go through some two advanced numbers. We do have those at BetOnline. So Fulham, they've been a good team this entire season. I think have been kind of struggling to live up to their own expectations after a great start to the year. Crystal Palace, awful start, have started to play really well. And we'll see about the health of Jean-Philippe Mateta, their striker, who was kicked in the head by a goalkeeper, and I think in the previous round of the FA Cup. We'll see about his health. I can't imagine he's going to be that impactful. But I think I look towards Crystal Palace here. I like them as a quarter goal underdog because I think they have proven that they've kind of picked up their form from the end of last season, which was deserted them for a lot of the year. But they played pretty well. And I honestly think that they have a little bit more to their defense, I think, than Fulham do, especially because they are actually starting or Fulham is starting a defender on loan in Joachim Anderson from Crystal Palace. It's possible he might be cup tied and not even eligible to play in this event, but we'll see. And certainly, as I usually don't make plays until I see lineups an hour before matches, this is a 7:15 Central Time start. So we're looking 6 hours and 15 minutes from now, and we still got an hour-long podcast, plus try to get it uploaded. So I will be waking up a few minutes for this matchup and seeing how I feel on that front. With that said, lean to the under as well. I think we see some tight cup matches, especially this deep in the FA Cup. I think a lot of teams are going, and honestly, if BetOnline is putting out two advanced numbers, then we know we're coming in to the end of the competition. So lean to Crystal Palace as the underdog, getting a quarter of a goal, like the under 2.25. And as for the two advanced number, Fulham -150 to Crystal Palace plus 122. Certainly in a shootout, which should be 50-50. The 122 would look nice at Crystal Palace. We'll see if it gets there, but probably not enough for me at the moment. We'll move next to a little bit later on our slate. We have Brighton, a half a goal favorite to Nottingham Forest in the same FA Cup competition. Forest have been incredible, are far up the English Premier League table, far higher than anyone expected. I think even themselves. And they play a defensive brand. They're going to make it really hard on Brighton to score. I think we've seen this from 3/4 of a goal, pretty juiced, now falling to a half. Certainly shows that there's some belief in Nottingham Forest based on that earlier line. Brighton have been playing well, but I think it's easy to see that they are probably not the same team that should be a favorite to a team much higher than them in the table, especially since both should be going for this FA Cup. And I guess you would then think about who's internationals that play for both these clubs. I think Brighton would probably have more, but Nottingham Forest certainly have some. Chris Wood would be one I'd initially think of, a striker for Nottingham Forest, who's a New Zealand international. They had Murillo playing in Brazil and not playing well against Argentina, and that closed to the Eliminatorias Sudamericanas, South American World Cup qualifiers. But I think there's probably going to be a low scoring match. I think we see that coming back from international breaks often. So I lean to that half of a goal and to under 2 3/4. The two advanced number, Brighton minus 190 to Nottingham Forest plus 154. That's starting to look a little bit more interesting, especially because Nottingham Forest have played so well. I'll certainly look at that plus 154 to advance, and it's probably worth looking to see what these lineups look like on Saturday morning, or in this case, the afternoon for Nottingham Forest at Brighton. There's another set of matches on Sunday as I scroll to those. And thank you to any of you who have joined live. Any comments you have, feel free to throw them in the chat box, and if I see them, I will certainly respond to them as soon as I can. And we'll read them even if they're a little off color. Preston to Aston Villa. That is the Sunday match, early slate. Preston, a 1 1/4 goal underdog coming from the Championship. Villa, of course, of Champions League and performing well in that competition. FA Cup will be the most important of all the English cups. There are two of them, but I think ultimately it's going to really decide what this team's going to look like. Aston Villa have tons of international players, so we'll see what that looks like. Emiliano Martinez certainly played against Brazil, speaking of, so we'll see if he's eligible and starting for this matchup. Has been dealing with some injuries, but there's a huge downgrade from him to Olsen, their other goalkeeper. I think is a Swede. Total is 2 3/4 in this one. I just don't know enough about Preston to trust them as a home underdog. I think if anything, I'll lean to under 2 3/4 in this matchup because I think we see a low scoring game as you would in a tight one, as most cup ties seem to be, especially the big Preston crowd. To advance number here, Preston, despite being at home, 330 plus 330. So 100 US will win you $330. Aston Villa minus 450, so you have to lay 450 to win 100. That's pretty expensive on a road team. Last but not least of the FA Cup in this round, we'll go to Bournemouth hosting Manchester City. Currently, Bournemouth quarter goal underdog at home with all the juice. Totals 3 1/4, juice all the way to under. And I think that reflects the Manchester City lack of defense this season, but also Bournemouth's ability to score goals. I think the Bournemouth style, though, will try to keep this low scoring. So for that reason, I'll lean to the home underdog, take that quarter of a goal, and lean to under 3 1/4. And I got to say, the plus 110 to advance number on Bournemouth, who I think have been playing very, very well this season. And they do have some international players, in some weird way. Dean Hudson has somehow is a Spanish international. Go figure that one. I definitely watched him play in the Netherlands, where everyone thought he was from, and get booed off the pitch pretty much, or on the pitch when he came on to replace for injury. So we'll see how that all looks. Manchester City, of course, all international all the time, but are rebuilding. So we'll see what that ends up looking like in a lineup for this matchup. I'll lean to the home underdog here, and I'll play Bournemouth a quarter goal underdog as my best bet from the FA Cup. We'll now move to La Liga in Spain, and we'll start with the Saturday matchup, and that is Real Sociedad, the early one, hosting Real Valladolid. Currently, Sociedad a 1 1/4 goal favorite. The juice split both ways. Totals 2 1/4, juice all the way to over. Valladolid are just not really a team I can back right now. They've had so many financial issues, a newly promoted side that are kind of the yo-yo club, going in between the Segunda División and the Primera División, and then doing it over and over and over again. They've been in some real financial dire straits. They've seen a lot of players move to other clubs. And for that reason, I think going on the road to Real Sociedad, it should be a low-scoring match. It's probably my biggest interest there, especially as we might get 2.5, as it looks pretty juicy the over at the moment. But I think it probably would take me to trust their defense to play that under, and I just don't think I do that at this point. We'll move next to Espanyol hosting Atletico Madrid. Currently, Espanyol 3/4 goal underdog at home. All the juice on Atleti. Totals 2 1/4, just a little bit more to under. So Espanyol were a 1 goal underdog. That's been eaten up, but I expect it probably will return based on Atletico Madrid's success across many competitions, though they certainly were disappointed after kicking a ball off themselves in a penalty shootout. I think it's my fourth consecutive to advance team that have lost in a penalty shootout. brutal, but that should normalize at some point if I have any sort of luck. Probably not, but we'll see. Espanyol on the other side, they are a newly promoted side that have been awesome at home this year. The road form has been pretty problematic. It's been improving as of late. But I do like them as a home underdog. I'll certainly be waiting to see if they climb to that one goal of insurance. I'll lean to under 2.25 because that's kind of the low scoring mantra that Espanyol have been playing at home. They know they can't get in a shootout with Atletico Madrid, and that's probably a good way to potentially split to play, especially if you get Espanyol a one goal underdog. See them lose 1-0, win the under, and push the side. Moving next to Alaves hosting Rayo Vallecano. Currently, Alaves a half a goal favorite. All the juice on Rayo total is 2, juice all the way to under. So I don't really trust the home offense at all, so that puts me on Rayo getting a half of a goal, which is pretty large, but probably falls to a quarter, and I'm not too afraid of that. Lean to under 2, and it's very juiced in the moment, and I don't play below 2 goals, so that's a key number for me. To the nightcap, Real Madrid, 2.25 goal favorites. The Leganés total is 3.25, juiced all the way to over. A little bit more juice on the Leganés side. I just can't trust them to score, especially not in the Bernabeu. Really can't trust them to score anywhere, so for that reason, I'm most interested in the Leganés under 3.25 goals because I don't think they contribute to that scoreline, though Real Madrid certainly could do it all themselves. We'll move to Sunday. Getafe, as I wear their kit. They are a quarter goal underdog at home to Villarreal. Total is 2.25, and it's juiced all the way to under. Getafe are a good home team, and they're a good team in general. They've been performing really well. They just don't score goals. Villarreal are a goal scoring team that don't defend very well, so we'll see two contrasting styles. That certainly makes a fight, and we'll see how that goes. Styles make fights, as they say. I think a lot of times in college basketball here in the United States, but it happens. I think for this point, I'm interested in the home underdog getting that quarter of a goal and lean to under 2.25 because I think they dictate the tempo or pace of this matchup. We'll move next to Barcelona, a 2-goal favorite to Girona, just across their city, or I guess in Catalonia, the country. Or I guess I probably shouldn't say that if you're from Spain and are a believer in the monarchy and whatever government there. Total's 3.5, juice all the way to over. So there's clearly some goals being expected in this matchup. I don't know necessarily that I see them because I think Girona have proven over the years that they have been very, very difficult for Barcelona to beat. But they haven't really been scoring this year. So that especially hard, even though it's not really the Camp Nou or like Spotify Camp Nou. They're in a different stadium, the Montjuic, as I think it's called. But I just don't know what way I want to back Girona. They've done very well against Barcelona. They've struggled really with Real Madrid and some of the others at the top of La Liga in Spain. It's probably not enough for me to do either way on this one, especially with Barcelona coming off a makeup game on Thursday. That certainly helps Girona. So maybe that +2 is my biggest interest in that one. We'll move next to Valencia hosting Mallorca. Currently Valencia, quarter goal favorite with all the juice. Total is 2, and the juice is split both ways. Valencia have been fighting their way out of relegation, and that seems to be a much longer fight than they were even expecting. Mallorca have just not been playing well since 2025 calendar flipped. They're probably the side I'd want to look to as an underdog here, and I'll certainly wait to see if Valencia climbed a bigger favorite. But I think my biggest interest here is under 2 goals. We'll move to the next matchup, still in the same time window on Sunday. That's Athletic Club Bilbao hosting Osasuna, coming off their makeup match with Barcelona midweek. Athletic Club, a 1.25 goal favorite. All the juice on Osasuna away. Total is 2.5, and it juice more to the under. Athletic Club have been awesome. I thought. Like, I don't know if you could call it fortunate, got an early red card based on a horrible pass by Mats Hummels, who just never stops doing that. Really, for Roma or for really any club, it's amazing he's still playing and that Roma still trusts him. But Athletic Club moved through in the Europa League, and that's big for them because the title or the final is in their home stadium. Osasuna is going to have a tough one across the Basque Country, and this matters to them. So I do think they compete here, but it's going to be hard for them on reduced rest compared to Athletic Club, though they certainly had a lot more international players, though certainly the striker for Osasuna was playing for Croatia, so we'll see. Ante Budimir. I'll lean to Osasuna in this one, but I want to see lineups, and I'll lean to under 2.5 as well. To the nightcap, it's El Gran Derby, I believe, which is Real Betis, and Sevilla, 2 clubs across town in Sevilla, walking distance from each stadium. I did that a couple seasons ago. Real Betis, a half a goal favorite at home with more juice, totals 2.5, juice all the way to under. This is always a tight match, and we see plenty of red cards. You even saw a match suspended a couple seasons ago when a rod was thrown from out of the Betis supporters, section and hit a Sevilla player, caused an injury. It seemed like it was a little bit of a faked injury, but we'll see. I think you've seen a low scoring match here, so like under 2.5 in that one. As for Monday of Celta de Vigo, a 1 goal favorite to Las Palmas, totals 2 3/4, juice all the way to under. Slightly more juice than Las Palmas away. I don't really trust Las Palmas' offense, but I really don't trust Celta de Vigo either. So I lean to that +1. I'll lean to under 2 3/4 in that matchup. For my best bet, though, in the La Liga in Spain, I'm going to go with that Getafe quarter goal underdog at home as we still continue the home underdog spirit. Moving to Serie A in Italy, we'll start on Saturday morning here in the United States. We'll go to Venezia hosting Bologna. Currently, Venezia, 3/4 goal underdog with almost all the juice totals, 2 1/4, juiced more to the under. Venezia have not been scoring, but they've been defending really well. I don't see goals, even though Bologna have been scoring more as of late. I'll lean to the 3/4 at home, but I'll lean even more strongly to under 2 1/4. Como then hosts Empoli. Currently, Como 3/4 goal favorite with all the juice in the same time window. Totals 2.5, juice all the way to under. Looks like this is going to climb to 1 goal favorite. I'll be waiting to see if Empoli climb there. I don't really trust the Como defense, so it makes me want the road underdog here. Though I am a little terrified about backing Empoli and potentially a high-scoring game away from home. Move next to Juventus hosting Genoa. Currently, Juve a 1 goal favorite. More juice on Genoa away. Totals 2 1/4. Juice more to the over. Juve with international players playing everywhere. Genoa with far fewer. So I'll lean to the better defense that's played very well under Patrick Vieira. That 1 goal underdog, but more strongly to under 2 1/4. To the nightcap on Saturday, Lecce hosting Roma. Currently, Lecce 3/4 goal underdog at home with all the juice. Totals 2 1/4. Juice all the way to under. I'm waiting to see where this number moves. Roma have been really bad away from home and certainly are licking their wounds off that Europa League exit, but that was a couple weeks ago and probably they've recovered since then. I'll lean to a low-scoring Lecce style at home, like the 3/4, but I'd love a full goal of insurance. It doesn't look like that's going to come, so probably lean stronger to under 2 1/4 in that matchup. Moving to Sunday, early matchup, we have Cagliari hosting Monza. Currently, Cagliari 3/4 goal favorites with almost all the juice. Totals 2 1/4 with almost all the juice to over. Monza can't score, and they look like they're going down. Cagliari have been more aggressive at home, but I think we see a low-scoring match here, so I'll go under 2 1/4. Fiorentina then hosts Atalanta. Fiorentina, 1/2 goal underdog at home with all the juice. Totals 2.5. Juice is split both ways. Pretty big underdog here for Fiorentina, so I lean that direction. Certainly, Atalanta, bigger club and performing better as of late. But I do feel like there's some creaking in the wood in the Atalanta foundation. Moving next to Inter Milan, they are hosting Udinese. Inter a 1 1/4, 1.25 favorite at home. Juice is split, totals 2.5, juice all the way to over. I like what Udinese have been doing in scoring goals lately. I am concerned about them going to Inter and trying to get in a shootout. I don't think that's going to happen, but the Udinese defense is my biggest question. For that reason, no interest in under, and I'm trying not to fade Inter as I think they're one of the best clubs in the world and certainly the best in Italy. Two that would argue that Napoli hosting AC Milan. Currently, Napoli a 1/2 goal favorite at home. All the juice on Milan totals 2.5, and it's juice all the way to under. Milan's defense has been bad. They've not been playing well. But I think the Napoli style is to play under, so I'll lean to under 2.5 in that matchup. I think going on the road, the match I went to a couple seasons ago, we see dictated by the home team. To Monday, we have Verona hosting Parma. Currently, Verona a 1/4 goal favorite at home. All the juice on Parma away, totals 2 1/4, juice more to the over. I don't really trust Parma's offense. It's dried up for a long time now. Verona forever in a relegation spat. Certainly, I'd be minding their defense as well. So I'll lean under 2 1/4 in that matchup. And then the last one will go Lazio hosting Torino. Currently, Lazio a 3/4 goal favorite. All the juice on Torino. Totals 2 1/4, juice all the way to over. Lazio have started the year so well across all competitions, have not been so great since. Did get through in Europa League, so that's big for them. I'll lean to Torino here, getting 3/4 of goal, though I'd love to get a full goal of insurance. Don't have that, so there's probably not a lot for me to do there in that Monday matchup. As for my best bet in the Italian Serie A, I'll go Fiorentina, a 1/2 goal underdog at home in Sunday's action. Moving to Ligue 1 in France, we'll start on Saturday with Stade de Reims hosting Olympique de Marseille. Currently, Reims a 1 goal underdog at home with all the juice. Totals 2 3/4 with more juice to the under. I lean to Reims, but they've been really struggling this season. And I can't play under because Marseille score too many goals. They've been very good away from home, so that is a scary one to say the least. Not as scary as Saint Etienne, a 2.25 goal underdog at home to PSG. Total is 4. Juice a little bit more to under, a little more juice on the Saint Etienne home underdog. I'm not really looking to fade PSG. I think they're the best team in this league. I think everyone thinks that. They might be one of the best in the world. I think everyone thinks that too. And they're in Champions League. That's certainly something they could be looking toward. I guess I'll lean to the home underdog 2.25 goals. But I think I leaned to under 4 as well because it's far bigger than I made it. But that is a scary thing to get in way of trying to find some way to make some money against PSG in Liga, the Farmers League, as it's called in England. To the nightcap on Saturday, Monaco hosting Nice. Currently, Monaco half a goal favorite. More juice on Nice. Total is 3, just all the way to under. Monaco are a better club. They certainly have not played defense to their level, but neither have Nice all season. I don't think there's much for me in that nightcap. I'll just believe the home team will win and hope that I will be proven right, and I'll be saving some money on the underdog. Moving to Sunday, of Toulouse hosting Stade Brestois. Currently, Toulouse a half a goal favorite at home. All the juice on Brest. Total is 2.25, and it's juice almost all the way to over. Brest have been great. I feel like this is a really big price for them, considering they're long gone out of Champions League and can focus on this matchup. Don't have a lot of international players, et cetera, et cetera. Toulouse have not been great, so I'll lean to the road underdog there. Angers then host Montpellier in a battle at the bottom. Angers, newly promoted, Montpellier trying to hang on to their position. Angers, a 3/4 goal favorite at home. More juice on Montpellier. Total is 2 3/4, just all the way to under. Angers are a goal scoring team. Montpellier are not. They're going to try to drag them into a dogfight. I like under 2 3/4, though it's not a strong lean. Angers then hosts Rennes. Currently, Angers a half a goal underdog at home with slightly more juice. Totals 2.5. Juice pretty heavily to under. Angers are a goal scoring team. Rennes have added a defensive manager a third of the season. He's kind of changed everything around. I'll lean to the home underdog getting a half of a goal because I think we have two teams playing different directions. Le Havre then hosts Nantes and last in that same window. Le Havre a quarter goal underdog at home with all the juice. Totals 2.25, just more to the over, almost all the way. Nantes is a road favorite, just doesn't really compute to me, so I'll lean to the home underdog in the quarter, but I think I like under 2.25 even more. In the last matchup, Lille hosting Lens in a North derby in France. Brittany, I think it's in Brittany, basically on the west coast, northwest coast of France. Lille, half a goal favorite, all the juice on Lens, totals 2.5, juice very heavily to under. Lille probably licking their wounds after getting eliminated, despite taking a lead on aggregate at home in the second leg against Borussia Dortmund in Champions League. But that was a while ago, so maybe they're over it. I'll lean to under 2.5 because I think Lens are going to try to play that style, which is low scoring, though it really hasn't really gone great for them this season. For my best bet in France, I'm going to go with under 2.25, Le Havre and Nantes on Sunday. Last but not least, we'll go to the German Bundesliga, and we'll start on Saturday morning in the big slate of matches. Bayern München, a 2-goal favorite, all the juice to St. Pauli. Totals 3.25, and it's juice more to the over. Actually, some money is coming on St. Pauli. Have bet that down from 2.25 to this current 2, though very juiced on the Bayern side. St. Pauli can't score. Maybe they've done it better away from home this year, but I don't think they're going to do it in Bayern. I think the total is too tough for me to get involved because Bayern can score 7. So I'll skip to TSG Hoffenheim Football Club Augsburg. Currently, Hoffenheim a quarter goal favorite at home. All the juice on Augsburg totals 2.25, juice all the way to over. Augsburg have not been a good goal scoring team, but I like them as an underdog. It's Hoffenheim who have really struggled to do anything good. Lean to under 2.25 is my strongest interest in that one. Borussia Mönchengladbach then hosts RB Leipzig. Currently Gladbach a quarter goal underdog with all the juice. Totals 3.25, juice all the way to under. Gladbach is a great home underdog. Leipzig have really struggled this season, and I don't see that changing. Lean to under 3.25, but I think I like the home dog better. Wolfsburg then hosts Football Club Heidenheim. Currently Wolfsburg 3/4 goal favorite with all the juice. Totals 2.75. He's very heavily to under. Wolfsburg are a counter-attacking team, so it's a big favorite. That's really tough for them to do. Heidenheim, not a great defense. So I'll skip the side, and I'll lean to under 2.75 in that matchup. Would love to have a 3, but I don't think we'll get it. Holstein Kiel then hosts Werder Bremen. Currently Kiel a half a goal underdog at home with all the juice. Totals 3, juice all the way to under. Lean to Kiel getting a half of a goal. Lean to under, though they have lots of goals in their matches, so that's scary. And certainly because Werder Bremen's defense has been so bad, but maybe we'll see a more healthy Werder Bremen. I'm very curious to see what the lineups look like on Saturday, tomorrow, just a few hours. To the top spiel, the Saturday big game, we have Eintracht Frankfurt and VfB Stuttgart. Currently Frankfurt a pick'em, more juice juice on Stuttgart away, which is disrespectful. I'll lean to Frankfurt there. Total's 3.25, and it's juiced more to the under as well. I lean to unders in Stuttgart games because they usually control possession and don't score much. Eintracht Frankfurt have been scoring a lot in their matches. Their defense has been, I think, problematic. I'm very curious to see what this lineup looks like because there's a lot of respect for Stuttgart, and I don't really see it. Moving to Sunday, Sports Club Freiburg, half a goal favorite at home. All the juice on Union Berlin away. Totals 2.25, juice all the way to over. Freiburg are a low-scoring team. I think Union Berlin are a disaster. I don't like their side, but I'll lean to under 2.25 there, especially if we get to 2.5 on Sunday. Last but not least, Borussia Dortmund, a 3/4 goal favorite with all the juice to Mainz 05. Totals 2.75, juice more to the over. Lean to Mainz. Love them as a team. Love their intensity. Cannot wait for this to get to a full goal of insurance. As for the total, I like the under, but I think it's hard for me to want to go that way with any Borussia Dortmund match. So my best bet in the German Bundesliga, I'll go Mainz 05, a 3/4 goal underdog. Though I'll certainly be waiting for the last match in Germany to see that underdog hit a full goal of insurance. So we have rattled through. We've come to the end of the podcast. I'll check for some comments. See, wasn't lying. There would display here if I got any, but we are recording super late, so I get it. Not getting many of those. I guess it's time for the ultimate best bet. Like I said, if you're looking for some college basketball action, certainly check out Pregame Now on Twitter or RJ Bell's Dream Preview, wherever you get your podcasts, and you can hear at Big East Ben and I went through the Elite Eight fresh after the Sweet 16 finished tonight on Friday, March 28th here in the United States. So it's now recording on March 29th. And I do need to sleep at some point, but we'll see. You sleep when you're dead, I guess, or maybe you die early is the point in that one. But I'm going to go through the ultimate best bet and try to get everyone involved there. If you're still looking for some winners, baseball season just began. Check out patreon.com/real_G Warner. Get all my plays across all sports. Soccer plays, of course, through the rest of the season, the rest of the college basketball season, plus what we're doing in baseball as well. And keep an eye out for the Major League Baseball podcast presented by pregame.com, going out with Munaf Manji twice a week. I think we're doing Monday nights and Thursday night recording dates for the next days throughout this entire season. It's going to be a great year, great summer, and looking forward to making all of you some money, hopefully. But for the ultimate best bet, it's time to do it. So let me get my handy dandy recording device, and then I haven't done much on the Instagram in a while. What the heck? There we go. Okay. Oh, got some ladies outside. I might have to go check them out, see what we got. Just kidding. It's time to do a podcast. So let's get into it. And that time is now. Hey, this is Real_G Warner on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and on YouTube. It's the ultimate best bet for the Betting the Pitch soccer podcast. I go through top 5 European soccer leagues, whatever matches they're going through this weekend. The FA Cup in England, for example, La Liga in Spain, Serie A in Italy, Ligue 1 in France, and the German Bundesliga. Give out a best bet. We are 36-13, 73% year to date. From the FA Cup, I like Bournemouth, a quarter goal underdog. In La Liga in Spain, I like Getafe as I wear their kit, a quarter goal underdog. Fiorentina in Serie A, half a goal underdog. Le Havre under 2.25 goals in French Ligue 1, and the German Bundesliga, I like Mainz 05, a 3/4 goal underdog. But for the ultimate best bet on this episode, I'm going with Bournemouth, a quarter goal underdog in the FA Cup in England. I think they can knock out Manchester City. I think they get to extra time at the very least, and I think they will cover the spread and hopefully improve our 36-13, 73% year to date. And that'll do it for this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. I will talk to you on our next episodes, hopefully after a few hours of sleep, and have a great evening. Let me know, of course, if you'd like anything. And if you leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, it would be huge for the search rankings. I'll see you next week as we do some midweek soccer action and, of course, plenty of Major League Baseball and college basketball as that season comes to a finish.